Hey guys, sorting myself out here a little bit still. I don't know what I'm doing with this, all this stuff yet. Thomas has sent me some links and whatnot to just to be able to share, but I'm an idiot and I can't quite figure out how to do it. So we'll play along as we go, I guess. Right on, Turkey Vulture. Get the thing shared here. No problem, man. Not a good enough video. Omega. Yeah, no worries, guys. Gives me a bit of time to sort this out. It's a little bit of a hair pincher, but it looks good. What do you got on? Geezer, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. Everybody, glad you're here. Very nice. I am going to without sharing the screen, I'm gonna look this stuff up on Chrono 24 just for the hell of it. Because I'm not as familiar with all the numbers as some of the guys around here. So. Yeah. That's awesome. And Geezer, I'll take a look at what that is. Heard that number before. Very nice. Very, very nice. Both of yous. Geezer, I don't know that I've ever seen you around, man. Not that I'm not too caught up with everything that are all the shows and whatnot. But I know most of the guys around here. But glad to have you aboard. That's a hell of a watch you got, man. Everybody have a good weekend. Hey, man.
Hey, hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Turkey Vulture. Everybody having a good weekend?
Yeah,
Yep.
man. Good weekend.
Mhm.
Good to hear. So Thomas is going to be around shortly here. I think he's been a little bit under the weather. I don't know all the details, so hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, I heard ID guy was saying drink plenty of fluids, and so I'm guessing it's it's the time of year.
It is.
Although this year, it's going around as another meeting, but
Yeah. Well, Geezer, if you want to join up, you're free to, man.
mhm. So I think, Thomas sent a bunch of links, and he's always prepared with nice topics. And
Yeah, he's definitely the captain of this brigade.
yep, definitely.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to turn my big ugly head off here. Oh, not that. Yeah, I'm still not good at this stuff. All the stuff that he sent me. I can't even figure out how to get it onto the screen, to be honest. It wants me to just open up a Chrome tab. It's not really cutting. He sent a cool article. We'll wait for him to get here for that one.
Which article was that?
The Zodiac.
Okay.
Yeah. Zodiac watches and the Zodiac killer.
Yeah, that's.
I've heard of the Zodiac killer before, never the watch.
Yeah, the Zodiac watches, you see them, but not. They're, kind of. I don't know how you call that. I don't know why you call those tiers and everything.
Yeah.
It's a blue shirt. It's sort of.
Hey, blue shirt.
I don't know how you'd call that. Like, I don't want to say entry level, right? It's a bit pompous sometimes saying that a $1,600 watch is a entry level watch, right? But
yeah. Hey, blue shirt Buddha. How are you doing today?
What's up, man? I joined a live stream.
Is this the first live stream that you joined?
I think this is the first live stream I've ever joined.
Nice.
Okay. Well, there's no nobody's gonna yell at you or
Yeah, that's always nice.
Yeah. No yelling at people. No making fun of people.
Yeah, just no heavy politics and no FLs.
Yeah. No, don't worry. None of us are going to try to tell you that the Earth is flat. Something like that.
What do you guys think about all the cancellations, all these major trade shows, like SIHH, and apparently Basel's canceled this year too?
Yeah, well, I don't know what that's. I think Basel is the one that people should be more concerned with because it really wasn't doing that well. Yeah. So I don't know what that means for the future. I know that SIHH, or what is now Watches and Wonders, look, no trade show is doing great these days, but I think they must have been doing pretty well because they're getting more and more brands, right? It's not just Richemont anymore. They have other brands that are joining. and it seemed like it was more laid back. And but Basel, they're already in trouble, and now they have to skip a year.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's two things, right? You miss a year, and then you're going to let a lot of companies build their alternative marketing strategies and launch strategies even more for a whole year. So you already have a bunch of companies that don't go to those trade shows because they use social media, they use the press, they already know how to release their products throughout the year. So now you're giving companies like Rolex more reasons to start doing it themselves. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, we have Neo.
How's everybody
Blue
doing?
shirt. Hey, blue shirt. Good.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you.
Flippin, NS, Blue Shirt, Turkey Vultures here. Awesome.
Turkey,
What's up,
welcome, man. Welcome.
What's going on?
You're like
Not
one of those
much,
guys
not
that
much.
we see around forever, and it's like really nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
it's great. I've been following you guys forever, so it's nice to join up for once.
Right on.
Did you guys watch the interview that Alexander from Watch Advisor did on CNN?
No, I didn't see that.
No.
Yeah, so they were basically asking him about the coronavirus and I think it was like the day SIHH decided to cancel, and they were asking him about Basel, and he kind of had like an interesting observation or comment to make. He goes, like there's a lot of things that go on during Basel that have nothing to do with watch. Tiny brands, little tiny companies, people that supply watch manufacturers, and those guys don't have another way of doing this. And he was saying that Rolex and Patek were keeping Basel around just to keep Basel around and to help that portion of the watch industry. And he gave them pretty good kudos.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't even hear or even think about that.
Mhm.
It would make sense.
I mean,
that
yeah, it would make sense. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Yep.
you're not going to have a trade show with just one aspect of a business. They're all there.
Mhm.
So just because we don't see it, it's not going to be heavily advertised on the internet and all that. But yeah, that does make
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Basel is pretty much going to be done, but the only thing that keeping them going is having Rolex and Patek there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true until they find a way to like merge the two events. Right? I think that's kind of inevitable. Sooner or later, it's going to just be too expensive, and the biggest thing with Basel is the cost, right?
Right.
They have to have permanent facilities and all that. It's just insane. My guess is that sooner or later, it's all going to be. Maybe it's not Watches and Wonder SIHH. Maybe it's not Basel. Maybe it's something new that merges the two.
Right.
But I doubt that an industry needs, like even the car industry doesn't have two Geneva shows, right?
No.
One for half the
No, but
industry,
they do
one for the other.
have, there is, there's a Los Angeles, automobile show. There's a New York one. There's a, Geneva show.
Well, I mean, there's the
So-
rolling ones too. There's one in Minneapolis. Like I think it's like this time of the year every year.
Yep. The rolling ones are in trouble though. In Canada, the major one, there's like Audi, Volvo, and even technically Mercedes doesn't attend anymore. It's just the local dealers. Yeah, the local dealers get together and they put up a booth. But they've basically lost like 3-4 major brands, and not just the small shows, right? They've lost it in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. So
Thomas.
So we'll.
Hi there, guys. You all right?
Hey.
Thomas, how you feeling, my friend?
Yeah, a bit under the weather. Been a bit bad all week, but bearing up. Glad it's a zip.
Feel better.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Glad it's a zip show on the Sunday. So
Exactly.
Right on.
Flipping is the man. And we got
that's
Turkey
right.
with us.
Yeah,
Sunday
Turkey
show. What's up,
Vulture.
gentlemen?
How you doing? Welcome.
Excellent, man. Excellent.
Welcome to the Zip Show. How you doing,
Thank
my
you.
friend?
It's nice to join. Thanks for encouraging me to join us.
Great to have you on.
Yeah.
Glad to have all you guys aboard. Actually, this is quite the group.
Geezer says he's usually a lurker, but we're trying to get him to come on too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome, Geezer. Great you could join us today. Thanks for that, mate.
So tell us about yourself, Turkey.
Yeah.
I
Tell
live
us
in
about
New
your
York.
watches.
I love watches, obviously. I'm 40. I work full-time job, a part-time job, constantly working. So, it's tough to join all the time, but Sunday's perfect for me.
Right on.
Cool.
It's good to be here. I've been collecting and just OCDing on watches for probably the last 5 years, but father started me up with a Datejust. I've always been fascinated with his watch, and I inherited it, and then it's been slowly building a collection ever since he passed. And I don't know, that's it. I've been following Archie for years now, and all these different channels, and then you guys turned me on to flipping, which is great. It's a nice place to be on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So when did you get the Datejust then?
What's that?
When did you get the Datejust? Sorry.
I inherited it 10 years ago when my father passed away, and then I put it away for a while. So it was in bad shape, and then a few years back, I finally decided to get some money together and send it to RSC for proper service.
Nice.
And that was it. I got it going again. I sent the bracelet to Michael Young in Hong Kong, and he tightened the bracelet up quite a bit. And then I just started, getting heavier into watches after that. So
And
I'm wearing my Rolex Explorer. What's up?
I was just going to ask, your avatar is is that a perpetual 36?
Yeah, that's the 36 millimeter Explorer dial Oyster Perpetual.
No, that's a nice watch.
Yeah, that was the first modern one I bought.
Nice.
That kind of roped me in. It was kind of fun looking at a vintage, 1964 Datejust compared to that, and then I proceeded to get some other watches, and there it is. I have no idea. It's love watches. Love baseball cards. I don't know. The watches came up, as I became an adult.
Yeah. I had a friend who unfortunately needed to get a divorce. And one of the biggest hassles in that whole process was getting rid of his baseball cards, which pretty much had it filled up like half of his garage. Like he had a pallet of baseball cards. I mean, it was just insane.
Yeah.
Was that a cause of the divorce?
No, actually, no.
That's funny.
That's great. So it sort of snowballed from the Datejust. So you got the Oyster Perpetual 36, and what followed after that then, Turkey?
Then it turned into an Explorer 39 mil 214270 that we talk ad nauseum about. Blue shirt.
Nice.
Picked up the Mark II from what are they called? Goldberg or not Goldberg?
Govberg.
Goffberg.
Goldberg, yes. Picked that up. A year and a half ago at this point. I got a tuner Pelagos from David SW a few years back, just
Nice.
because
Right.
my job, I work for a utility company, and I needed a pretty rugged sport watch. I wear my Explorer a lot, but there's times where I'd rather wear a diver. And the Pelagos just worked for me. I mean, I would have loved to have gotten a sub, but the price and it's, you know, everything's over lift. The AD has nothing, obviously. So I went Pelagos, and it's been a pretty great beater watch for me. And it's
I
a
want a
good price.
Pelagos. I think a Bellicose is cooler than a sub. Like I want a Pelagos.
Mm.
I do want a
agree.
sub, but only as a bluesy, and it's not high on my list of stuff to get.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
The only sub I want as well is a
Mm.
bluesy. The regular sub really doesn't do anything for me. I'd much rather
Yeah.
have a Pelagos.
Mm.
Would you get the blue or the black dial?
I got an LHD.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful.
I was up late one night, and I just caught a whole bunch of articles on Hodinkee, and I went down the rabbit hole, and I fell in love with it. You know, because starting with a vintage, I fell in love with all the, it's like a vintage look to it with the red, and they kind of tinted the indices just a touch in the hand.
Yeah.
It's not glaring Fotina, but it's, you know, it's just like a touch of, you know, off white, and I don't know, all those designs just drew me in, and I picked that up, and it's been a great watch. You know, I wear it on the bracelet all the time. It came with a rubber strap, which is great, but the bracelet is just, it fits it so perfectly, almost like a Rolex.
Mm.
It's hard to,
Mm. Yep.
you know, it's like Rolexes are built for bracelets.
I love the Pelagos. I have the blue one, and it's just the clasp is perfect. The bracelet's great. It's light.
Yeah.
And you know, look, it's not like a $50 watch, but it's not a watch you have to worry too much about scratching. I definitely wouldn't want, you know, if I was working outside all the time, I definitely wouldn't want to be wearing a, you know, whatever a sub cost at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
15 grand
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
beautiful watch. But,
mm,
you know.
Hello,
it's-
Smoke Eater. Welcome.
Hi, Smoke Eater. You all right, mate?
Hey, Smoke Eater.
Smoke Eater.
Hey, man.
So, I ended up buying my Explorer one from David SW, and it was a couple of years ago, so it was like less than retail.
Yeah.
At it, but so I still look at his site often. Do you know that right now he has 214270 Mark 1, and he's listing that at like, I think it's like a little bit over 7,500. He's selling the
Wow.
Mark 1s more than the regular Explorers ones that he has, the Mark 2 dials that he has right now.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He has a big
Oh, that's good.
inventory.
That's good for me, man.
yeah.
mm,
Where is he
I
based
love
out?
that.
Orlando, I believe.
Pardon?
Yeah, he's in Florida.
Orlando?
David
Oh,
SW's
okay.
in Florida, yeah.
I kind of assumed he was out of Australia because of.
No, he's great. I mean, I only had one dealing with him, and it was, you know, super smooth transaction, and you know, I had my watch in 2 days, and it was, you know, follow up emails, everything. I mean, he was top stuff.
Yeah, I think Carlos got his day date from David SW, and he said it was a pleasant experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
So cool,
Yeah.
but yeah, that Pelagos is nice. If I'm ever going to add a titanium watch to my collection, that would be right up at the top of my list. That's a
Yeah,
cool
it's
looking
different.
watch.
It's a fun watch.
It wears a lot different than like the Black Bays or even like the Tudor GMT. Despite the fact that it's still a bigger watch, it wears a lot different than those watches.
yeah. The one thing that's really important when sizing a watch, right, is the lug to lug size. And I think the lug to lug is 49, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's 50. So it's actually very compact for a 42 millimeter watch. It's thick though.
It's thick, yes, definitely.
Yeah, it
But
is. But
the bracelet pulls it down into your wrist, and it's not as thick on your wrist than when you just look at it. I noticed.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and look, and it's really it's different with the actual titanium. It's more gray, right? It's not as shiny. The ceramic is really matte. It's a cool watch.
Yeah, the bezel, the action on the bezel is amazing, and the whole thing is it's so bright. I mean, the bezel is so bright at night. It's crazy. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool watch.
And we're talking about prices. I just went on Canadian Watch Collector, which is the big like forum in Canada for watches in general, but they also have a big classifieds. And right now, you can get the 39 Mark II for so I think it's good buying for Americans if you ever in Canada. They have one like brand new for almost brand new, I guess, for 7,800 Canadian for trade, and one like about 8,000 for sale. So they're going for about the equivalent of 58 US. So
Oh wow, that is good. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah, that's nice.
mhm.
And that's something I'll ask you. Have you ever bought when the market was right, like when the Canadian dollar was high? It's been a while since it has been, but what was it?
So with watches, I find that it doesn't matter that much if you're buying in Canada because just so you guys, you Americans know, in Canada, like in the 90s and beginning of the 2000s, everything was so overpriced, even though the Canadian dollar at some point reached almost up to par. And a lot of people got upset, and most companies started bringing prices down, right? Because there was a time where you could get like a GM car would cost like 25% more in Canada, even though the Canadian dollar had gone up. And with watches, Flippin, actually, the price, they've kept the price down to make sure that people don't go buying outside of Canada, right? So to protect the ADs. So right now in Canada, even though the dollar is a little bit lower than it used to be, the prices are still very competitive to American sellers. So, but the thing is, at the end of the day, you have so many amazing deals in the U.S. that sometimes it's just worth it. But for Rolex, I don't think it's that worth it for a Canadian to buy in the U.S.
Good to know.
Well, don't they slam you with an import tax if you buy a watch from outside of Canada?
Well, you pay sales taxes. The import taxes aren't that much. It's the sales taxes. So, like if I'm importing into, like if you're importing into Quebec or Ontario, you're going to pay about 15% sales taxes plus some duties, but the duties aren't that much. But Flippin', if he imports into Alberta, he's going to pay 5%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
It's weird.
Well, because Alberta doesn't have provincial sales taxes, but so the federal government has 5% sales taxes across the board in Canada, but then a lot of provinces tack on their own like 10%. And the worst part is that a lot of provinces like Quebec, they charge you, they calculate the tax on top of the price with the 5%. So you're paying taxes on taxes.
You're paying taxes on taxes. Wow, what a racket.
That's Canada. That's how they do it around here.
It's
It's a little bit out of hand. So, what else is there to say about the whole Basel cancellation?
Well, I think they pushed it back to January of 2021.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
That's such a that's such like a fake way to kind of not admit that you're canceling it, right? So they said, "Oh, we're not canceling it. We're just postponing it to January of next year," right?
Which is when no one's gonna have a watch to release, really, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, they do have like 8-9 weeks to sort of prepare their releases for that year now. Sorry, 8-9 months, right? So, but what will be interesting is when is Rolex going to release those this year's watches? So,
I'm spreading rumors I'm spreading rumors online and all the forums saying that Rolex is not going to release anything this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
We should all help perpetuate that.
Yeah, that's good.
I reference YouTube watch gurus. I just leave it at that. I'm like, YouTube watch gurus told me Rolex is not releasing anything this year.
Yeah, I mean, besides Basil, what other channel does Rolex even use to announce a release? Is it just going to be on their website? We're just going to have to check it constantly if we need to know. I mean,
well, I think what they're going to do is what other brands have been doing, right? They're going to go around to all the media, right? And they're going to do NDAs, and they're just going to have dates where all of a sudden, magically Odinky, SJX, GQ, all those outlets will have the pictures and everything, which is kind of what they do, except that Rolex has been known for not telling people in advance. So on that media day before anybody can enter Basel, right, they would show them and let them take pictures, give them the press pictures, and then the next day everybody has their article. So, but a lot of other brands don't care that much because they've been doing releases at different events. A lot of them have been releasing at Dubai Watch Week, and so
wasn't that LVMH did a lot at Dubai Watch Week?
Yeah, this year they did. I don't know if they had releases planned for other events. My guess is that they still had other releases planned, but Bulgari basically released everything at Dubai Watch Week, and
it'll be interesting. But I think you're right, NS. They'll slow, at least as far as Rolex, they'll leak stuff out to the press, pictures, and then just on whatever day they choose, it'll be on their website, and everybody will freak out like they always do. What they do change or what they don't change, or but it'll be interesting to see what what the other houses do. What Swatch Group does, and I mean, because they weren't going to be part of Basel anyway.
And Swatch were really the first ones to cancel their event.
Correct.
I mean, they canceled it in, was it mid-January or maybe late January? And because Swatch is really, really exposed to the Asian markets, so I think it's 20 or 25% Hong Kong and China. So basically, they had no reason to have their event this year.
Right. And then what is Richemont going to do?
I think Richemont they last year they released most of it at SIHH, but they had a lot of releases at Dubai Watch Week, and I think they were already set to release at different times anyway. So my guess is, and they're not as secretive, so who knows?
Right.
All those outlets like Odinky might already have all the articles written, and they have all the pictures, and so my guess is we'll see releases in maybe end of March and April. And the thing is, right now the economy is not great, right? We didn't have a great week last week, and
certainly not.
Yeah, and the news, right? You don't want to get lost in the news cycle. Even remove the coronavirus, remove everything else. There's lots of stuff going on this year, right, around the world. So they might want to wait until stuff quiets down, and
Right,
and-
so they can grab more of a spotlight.
yeah,
I'm sure
and-
that's what Rolex is waiting for as well.
Mhm. And who knows if they wait a little bit this year, it might be kind of cool because usually they'll release something at SIHH and then those models hit the stores like a month later or 2 months later. They might even be
Right.
able to time it so that they, kind of like Apple does. They make the release and you can go next week and the products are in the boutiques. That might be a nice way to do it.
Certainly would be. Certainly would be. So what are you guys wearing today?
The old Speedmaster.
Nice.
My only decent watch.
That's cool, man.
Just
What
wearing
about
the
you
blur.
Very nice. I have my trusty little my Q Timex on today.
Nice.
Nice. I'm wearing my. I'm not going to BS you guys. I'm wearing my Apple Watch right now. So
It's all right.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool watch.
In the spirit of no BS, I'm wearing a Seiko Turtle orange dial.
oh,
There you
nice, nice.
Smokey is wearing an AP.
Oh, nice.
Thomas
Oh,
is going to
very
show
nice.
us.
Oh, nice.
I've got the baby
Oh,
Ploprof
yeah.
on.
The baby Ploprof.
You know,
Nice.
I said I tried on an actual Pro Prof.
Oh, did you?
It's massive, eh? Isn't it the actual Ploprof?
It's pretty big, but when you put it
Yeah,
next to
back
like,
from service.
I was gonna say, if you put it next to a 50
Nice.
millimeter Laco, oh my god, that watch was bigger than a hockey puck.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I remember at some point I really wanted a Flieger, just a pilot watch, just to say that I had one. And there was a really amazing deal, and somebody had it for sale used in Canada, like an insane deal. It would have been worth it. Alpina had a limited edition 50 millimeter pilot's watch with a Hunter caseback, but it was just so. It was so ridiculously big. It was the same kind of watch that pilots used to wear over their jacket.
Over the jacket.
Right? I mean, literally 50 millimeters, right? With big lugs on top of that. I don't know if you know how big it is when the lugs are. It's basically like 50 millimeters is the usual lug to lug size of a like a 40 millimeter watch, right? So take your sub or whatever, and then put the lugs at the end of the lugs. That's how huge that thing is.
Nice and legible.
That was pretty big. But I think the original Fliegers for the Luftwaffe, they were like 55. They were really huge.
Yeah,
55
stopwatches on straps.
55, and on top of that, a lot of them at the didn't have like lugs that were really compact, right? They had like wire lugs, or so that's really big. The lugs are really important. Like if you've ever had like if you've ever worn a Breguet with the traditional Breguet lugs, like a 36 wears like a 40 or 42 millimeter watch. It's really big.
Yeah, that was what I found with the Longines Legend Diver. It's 42, which is perfect for me. But even for me, the lugs they're like 53 millimeters, and even that's a little bit. I found it a little bit long, even for my 7.5-inch wrist.
Wow,
it's a great watch, but it was just a little bit too. The lugs were a little bit too long,
especially if they don't drill into the lugs just at the right place. Like a lot of brands will, like they know that you should drill like higher on the lugs and closer to the case, so the band actually like creates a curve and it makes it look like a little bit better. But if you drill like right in the middle and more towards the end of the lugs, then really it's like even the strap looks like it's floating around your wrist. It's hard to wear.
Has anyone been to the AP dealer in Toronto? Is asking Smoke Eater.
Nope,
Negative.
I have not.
Yeah, no.
And we
Been to my
lost
AP boutique here on Long Island, the one that just opened up this year. I was there maybe, I don't know, 2 months ago, shortly after it opened up. They had nothing in steel. A lot of code 1159s, and they had one or two precious metal 15500s.
Yeah, it's crazy that they can't keep stock, right? It really shows you the state of the market, because those are expensive watches. In Montreal, we lost our AD, the AD that it's the major AD in Montreal that sells pretty much, Rolex, every Richemont brand, every Swatch brand. They sell everything basically, and AP, because they're trying to do more and more boutiques, they've been putting like very strict conditions. And I was told by the AD that they told them you have to sell at least 65 watches a year. And apparently that was just too much for them. And they said, no,
that's
no,
a
thank
lot
you.
of watches.
Yeah.
That's a lot of watches for a brand that has a lot of expensive models. So
Well, and
that was the. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and it's also a lot of watches for an AD that also sells, basically everything except for Patek, right? So you go in and AP is great, but in that AD, it's competing against Lange, Rolex, Breguet, right? Everything.
Right.
So it's
was something similar to what there's a chain here called London Jewelers, and they sell everything. Rolex, Patek. They had AP, Breguet, Chopard. They had pretty much everything except VC and Lange. They closed the AP. AP pulled out of their dealership, and right next to it, they opened up an AP boutique. That's just AP. So.
Did anybody else open up themselves?
No, not well. I don't know. I say no. I have no clue. I shouldn't bullshit you guys. I don't know. I don't think so. My guess is that eventually they do a boutique, but Montreal is it's a big luxury market, really, and they do tons of money with tourists in the summer. But it's still tough. But I've been told by a couple of ADs that on top of everything that they sell year round, they make a killing in the summer. We have so many festivals, plus we have the F1 race. So they'll they're on I guess on F1 race weekend, maybe they're selling a bunch of $300,000-$400,000 watches the whole weekend. So
wow. Yeah, there was a rumor going around that Gothberg / Watchbox, they were losing their Rolex dealership. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd seen a couple of snippets around the internet about that. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Vancouver. I'm surprised they don't have AP.
Yeah, because Vancouver has a lot of stuff that a lot of other places don't have. Like they've got FP Journe, they've got Moser. Well,
the Omega Boutique in Vancouver. 2 thumbs up for that place. Great place. Then there's another one, and I think NS something, you've mentioned the name of it before. I think there's a few, but they had quite a few high-end pieces, and they just wanted nothing to do with me. So I just Turned
is
around
that
and walked out of there.
is that Palladio?
Could be, yeah, probably
Yeah.
that.
It's the place that sells Jorn and all of it. Yeah, some boutiques are. It depends. It depends who's there, what they're
Yeah.
wearing. Like, look, if I go into a boutique, I'll be wearing jeans and
Yeah.
running shoes. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm never dressed to the nines when I'm running around, just, watch window shopping. I'm always going in jeans and,
Yep.
but I've
Palladium,
never
maybe
found
that was my
anybody.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
I've
I'd
never
s-
found
yeah.
that somebody didn't, treat me, with a little bit of respect at least, and not totally blow me off in a boutique. But hey, you never know.
Yeah,
Should be.
if you're afraid, they won't treat you nice. The one thing to do is just wear a nice watch, right? I mean, I know it sucks, right, to have to say this, but if you're wearing your Omega or whatever, they figure, okay, that guy is a watch owner.
Yeah.
I was dressed like a tourist, so can't say I blame. I was being a tourist that day too, so.
It should be interesting to see what becomes available that's been hard to find at ADs in the next couple of months with this worldwide crisis situation going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
look, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that wasn't available that will be available because I don't think people are rushing to the AD right now to buy stuff when their name comes up.
No.
And
Yeah.
with all, everybody's kind of talking about that too, that maybe things will start showing up in the windows again. So now, maybe you guys are thinking that the ball's in our court, in the buyer's court.
Well, I mean, there's stuff definitely is not. It's not going to. The stock is definitely not going to China, so
No.
it's got to be going somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to wait and see. I haven't been able to hit my ADs this weekend. I wanted to go around and see, but I was just tied up with too much chores and stuff. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it'll be interesting to see.
Although I
even
think
even
I was just
before
gonna
this
say-
stuff started to happen, I saw a little bit,
Mhm.
things easing up a little bit.
although
One of the
you're-
ADs near me had a 43 Sea Dweller that was actually
Wow.
sat in the display case for a couple of weeks, and I was
Whoa.
shocked.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's surprising. I was going to say because you're in the New York area, right? So
Yep.
you'd figure that there are some places that are kind of some places are going to be a little bit immune to, at least for a while, to like any kind of downturn. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's
It's lucky. I actually have 4 ADs within 10 miles of me. So
It's amazing.
uh,
It's smoky. You're bang on, man.
yeah. There's it is. I mean, it's not just jokes. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is that.
yeah, Smoke Eater. I'm sure you're right, man. That's it's not just in Vancouver or that's all over.
Yeah.
Guys
Yeah.
roll in with big, with unlimited bankrolls, and they're gonna flock all over them.
Yep.
It's just the way it is.
They come in with those with the China Union Pay card.
Cube of Rolex.
Yep.
Cuba Rolex, exactly.
And one of those ADs got caught because they weren't really interpreting customs laws properly, and they were doing delivery at the Vancouver airport and not charging sales taxes when they weren't allowed, and they got like I don't know, a multi-million-dollar tax bill end of last
Oh
year.
wow.
Did they think if you just show up at the airport that you're a duty-free shop?
No, that's what that AD in Vancouver was doing. They were delivering it at the airport and like not charging sales taxes. And the government said, I don't care if you didn't charge sales taxes to your clients, but you owe us like $4 million or something.
Didn't the authorities arrest a Yahweh executive at the Vancouver airport too?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a little bit.
Yeah. Still paying for that one.
Yeah, we're still dealing with it. She's going to be extradited to the U.S. at some point, but it takes time. So.
Yeah. Vancouver's a crazy place. Like the real estate and all that, the money laundering. It's weird.
Yep.
It's bizarre there. Using just using real estate to launder money, essentially, to bring money in from China or something. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, everybody who has money is trying to get their money out, right? For getting it somewhere else for a rainy day if they ever have to flee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Smoking
so NS, are you enjoying that bracelet?
I am. Although, so this starting Friday, I said, you know what? I haven't been wearing my GLCs for a while. Mm-hmm. So all weekend, that's what I've been wearing. But yeah, for I guess like 2 weeks that I've had it now, or 2.5 weeks, I've been wearing that Moser on the bracelet.
Wow.
Pretty much
nice
all the time.
Nice.
I really like it. So.
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. I don't know where he is. Jerry. He showed me he picked up half a dozen watches this week.
It's a beautiful bracelet.
And gonna try. Yeah, he was supposed to come on. 1 second.
So what were the Thomas? What were the subjects you had lined up for us today? See, without you, we're all over the place. We can't be trusted with a stream on our own.
Our leader.
Yeah. And Thomas, I couldn't figure out a bunch of the stuff that you'd sent, unfortunately, because I'm an idiot. And
yes, sorry, I've got.
Yeah, I think
Sorry, I've got a bit of audio breakup. You're breaking up here on the stream, so I'm monitoring from another computer, which is got a bit of delay on the audio. So I'm a bit delayed here. So there's a bit of a lag here on the audio, I'm afraid. So yeah, limited editions was the topic I was thinking of. So
nice.
I'd written down a few limited edition watches that we could bring up, and if the audience, anyone in the chat fancied bringing up some limited editions, putting any in the chat, we could bring them up. And I'd written a few down. Yeah, if any of you guys on the panel wanted to bring up any limited edition, I can bring them up. And I thought it'd be a bit of the watch world is absolutely swamped with limited editions. It's just that there's loads of them out there. To be an excuse to.
I mean, technically, every
Palm Watch is off on us.
I mean, technically, every watch is a limited edition, right? It's not like they're going to make an infinite amount of any model.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not. I think a lot of people are against limited editions. I'm not really against them. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't have a problem with limited editions. I just think, and I'm a big fan of Omega. I just think they just overdo it
Yes.
to an extent where it turns some people off.
Yep.
It's just so many limited editions, and and they're endless.
Yeah.
But there are some brands that, I mean, the higher end brands, the smaller ones. How many Moser's? What they're only making period. So technically,
Solar
any
Impulse.
watch that they make is a limited edition.
Yep. Would you be more okay with all those Omega limited editions if they just said, "Screw it, we're just going to have like for each one of the models, right? We'll have a special edition for that year. Like
Yeah.
this is the we have the normal Speedmaster and this is the 2020 Speedmaster. Same with the Seamaster, right? Instead of having special editions that just are, I don't want to say stupid, but like this one, like the Solar Impulse, right? I know the Solar Impulse was this great, probably in the grand scheme of things, revolutionary event and plane, right? But do people actually care, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's the whole marketing part of it that I find annoying. If they call it a yearly edition, like you said, instead of a special edition, that they aren't special anymore. They've got the professional, they've got their money making watches. And so if they want to do something like this, do it once a year, give it its own name, quit calling it a special edition and call it anything but that, pretty much. Because a little bit of variety is fine. It's a good thing. So
isn't every Rolex with green on it a special edition?
Well, I mean, I'll go one step further. Isn't every
Omega.
Like, isn't every Rolex GMT technically limited, right? Every color. It's not like they didn't make the Batman forever, right?
Yeah, you can't get a Coke right now.
I mean, it's all semantics. It's something truly limited is going to be 50 pieces, 100 pieces. If you're, at least to me, to call something limited edition and you're making 1,969 pieces or 9,000 969 pieces, that's just garbage.
I mean, in a way, maybe like the way Moser does it, right? And there was that interview this morning on the Watchbox channel with Milan, the CEO of Moser, and they do have some numbered editions, right? Like sometimes they'll come out with like one watch with a purple dial, and they'll say we only make 50. But what he was saying this morning is that the way they limit their editions, it's like they make a watch with a color, right, a certain model, and at some point they say, well, we've made enough of that watch, right? We don't want to make too many. That's it. This is the time to stop. And they just stop and they come out with something else, but they don't go around and say, oh, wait, get this. We're only making X, even though they know how many they'll make, right? They're not necessarily selling it as, oh, buy it. We're only making 5,000. So I guess, yeah. And I guess also when they're themed, right? Maybe that's what rubs people the wrong way. Like those Omega ones that have weird themes.
Gray side of the moon, dark side of the moon. white ceramic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I
an
like those
Amiga.
Speedmasters though.
One Amiga I saw was the Amiga Olympic Seamaster was one I was looking at.
Yeah, although Omega makes an Olympic version for every single Olympic because they're the partner.
Right.
But maybe that's a better kind of special edition, right? This is the Omega Olympic for this year, right?
Yep.
In 2 years we'll make another one, and like the dark side, gray side, blue side of the moon. That I thought that's not too bad if you say, okay, every 2 years we're going to come up with a different color ceramic Speedmaster or something like that. But you know, doing the Speedmaster, like, you know, okay, now we're commemorating because the Apollo mission was like 50 years ago, and now we're commemorating the 51st anniversary. No, it's been 52 and a half years, guys. We better come up with another special edition.
Crank out another one.
And beautiful watches. I think the consumer just eventually gets a little frustrated because you want to have a lot of them. You want to own them all. You want to try them all on, but there's just so many. I mean, it's impossible as just a normal guy trying to collect a few watches. There's just so many options. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, you could just pick the one that you like.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Like I used to have an orange Planet Ocean. If I had to replace my Planet Ocean, I don't have it anymore, but if I was going to get a new Planet Ocean, I would try to get the Planet Ocean for the last Winter Olympics. It was like in Korea, so it was like a red, white, and blue theme. That's the one I would get today. And orange is my favorite color, and I would still pass it on the orange one and get that red, white, and blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had some really nice Olympic ones. I think it's the ones for Japan, right? That they've already released that are going to be in. They have the 5 colors. They're really, really cool.
Yeah, they have a Speedy
Yep.
and a two-hander.
Yeah, I think it's the, what's it called? The, oh man, I just forgot the name. The Seamaster that's a little bit more dressy. The Aquaterra. I think they're making an Aquaterra one that's pretty cool.
An Olympic for the Olympics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
And
of
also
those
they're making
Rio ones are cool.
Yeah, the Rio ones were nice. Yeah, that one you have on screen right now, the one for Seoul and Calgary.
Yeah, the Olympic Seamaster I saw was like an Aquaterra.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what am I looking at? 50. Olympics.
And sometimes you find the actual handheld chronometers chronographs too. Those are really cool.
I mean, Smokey brought up a good point. I mean, how many watches?
Did we just lose Thomas?
Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Thomas.
how many
Omega.
watches? How many limited edition?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Well, and
Right.
I was just
yeah,
saying,
how many watches are a limited edition?
I mean, you're saying how much is limited edition and mental sometimes, don't they? Brands can do as little as 100. You know, Zenith have just done the A3818 revival, and they've just done 100 pieces on that. The Cover Girl A3 revival, they only did 100 watches on that. Patek do 600 pieces. They did 500 pieces, and IWC have done 250 pieces on some of theirs, and there's all sorts. I mean, if you want to bring up I mean, Smoky was talking about the Royal Oak. If you bring up the Royal Oak to Italy, Zippo, that was a really nice one. The Royal Oak tribute to Italy.
Tribute to Italy?
I mean, I guess though the dirty secret is that Omega makes these crazy.
And that comes in colours of the Italian flag, the indices of the 30-minute counter. It's a Grand Tapisserie dial with blue subdials.
Oh, that's nice.
Let me see if I'm not sure.
Having trouble connecting to the internet.
Yeah, if you just Google it, you'll find it.
All I was going to say was I'm hoping Omega maybe learn their new 321 that it's limited production as opposed to limited edition. And if somebody's going to be up front like that, then I think that gains a little more credibility. Saying, we're not going to number it. We're not going to, say it's a limited edition, but, we're not going to be cranking out thousands and thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah,
definitely.
Or at least not for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, that's what JLC did with the sector dials, right? When they released them, they said there's 3 models. We don't know how many we're going to make of each model, but we're going to make 3,000 total of all 3, right? And when we sold 3,000, we'll move on to something else. And so they didn't create like a sort of crazy, run on those models or anything like that. And they make as many as they'll be able to sell within that number, and then that's it. They move on to something else.
Has anything like that completely bombed as far as sales go? Or do they all generally sell?
I know that Tim Mosso once talked about some very, very high-end JLCs, but we're talking about, like minute repeater reversos or things like that, where it was like, he himself had maybe number, or maybe it was a tourbillon or whatever, he had number 4 of 250. And he said, everybody knows in the industry that they never made 250, right? So a bunch of people have their numbered edition. Like one guy has 50 of 250, but there might only have been 55 that were ever made. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's limited.
Yeah.
Now, is this the one that? Well, not the green one, but he's here.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Now I see the distinction to it.
Look at that.
That's a cool AP.
Yeah.
A little better picture. Oh. Really subtle about the, Italian.
Yeah, this is a 2015 model. It was 500 pieces, and it was a $31,000.
Wow.
Wow.
You know how when the Royal Oak first came out, people didn't really like it, and it took many, decades for people to warm up to the AP.
Yeah.
I'm still in the warming up phase.
Yeah, it's
not for everybody.
No.
Nope.
I don't hate it. The one thing I don't like about the Royal Oak and the Nautilus and the Aquanaut is the premium over what else you can get in that brand, right? And I know that with AP, it's to a lesser extent because it's not like they're known anymore for their other dress watches, but you're paying a big premium for, take Patek. And that's probably just because I'm into dress watches, right? But if you take Patek, they have some really cool watches in the rest of their range, or at least that's my opinion. So to me, that's always been the stumbling block for those watches. You're sort of deciding, I'm going to get the entry level movement, and
Yeah, no, what I was going to
Yeah,
say,
go
I mean,
ahead.
there's half a dozen other paddocks that I'd rather have than either the Nautilus or the Aquanaut.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Zipper, if you bring
Yeah.
a 5.52
5.52
if you
1.
And as you're doing that, I have to say, the code 5911 with like the blue dial, like that chrono, there's nothing wrong with it. I know people are
No,
crapping all over it.
nothing at
It's
all.
beautiful. I mean,
5.22A.
It's a beautiful watch.
I love it. It's a really, really cool watch.
And I tried one on at the AP boutique, and it's nice. It's nice. You know, it's a nice watch. I don't know if people, you know, like you said, crapped all over it. I mean, as soon as you know they fix the issue with the readability of the dial at certain angles, you know, it's a nice watch, but it's expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think the case is just amazing on those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's cool.
exactly. It's the case is amazing, and I think that's, to me, that's important because all the watches that I really like are watches where at that price, right? Are watches where they've spent time on everything, including the case.
Yeah.
Like some paddocks where it's really nice, but at the end of the day, it feels like it's a generic dress watch case, right?
Yeah.
It's really, really cool when there's attention to detail on every single aspect of the watch.
Thomas, is this the one you meant? 5522A?
Limited edition Pilot's Calatrava.
Is that the one that was in steel?
Yeah, so
yeah,
this
A is steel.
is the one.
Yeah.
This is a US
beautiful.
market limited edition. It actually has Patek Philippe New York 2017 engraved on the sapphire case back. And it's the same movement that's found in the Nautilus. It's 45 hour power reserve. It's 42 millimeters, 600 pieces, and it's sold for 1,600 MSRP, but it's now selling used for 950. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a
Although
2017 model, Calatrava.
Damn.
So it came after the Pilot Travel Time. It's the same design by Travel Time, but it's just a Calatrava. It's a beautiful watch, I think.
The only thing with that watch is that that's the steel one, and it's not like anybody was able to walk in and buy that one. I'm pretty sure that one was waitlisted or because it's a steel one, right?
But you got to hand it to Patek. I mean, they came out with a watch to commemorate another brand. How many times do you ever see that happening? I mean, that's what Patek decided to pay homage to Zenith.
Yeah, good point.
Yep.
Yeah, it's beautiful. 9 millimeters thick.
Wow.
Yeah, those are nice. I like that one more than when they went crazy with those 4 crowns. That's when I was like,
I agree, Ennis. Absolutely, I like this better, way better than their other Pilot's watch. I forget the reference number, but the one with the 4 crowns. I like this one a lot.
Oh, that's 3 crowns.
But again, something that's selling at such a premium, I can't see it.
No,
besides the fact that I don't have the money for it. But even if I did,
no premiums, man.
Look, if you have the money,
make sense.
Yeah, if you have the money, right, for like a 5711, right? So the Nautilus.
Yeah.
If you have the money for aftermarket, I'm not saying if you can go in and buy buy at MSRP. And again, right, I'll be a broken record, but you're not buying MSRP if you had to buy 5 other watches that lose their value and that you don't like,
Correct.
right? So if
correct.
you're getting that 5711 for MSRP, but you bought a couple of Calatravas, a World Time, you bought a World Time that's, yes, it's their famous watch, but it loses 65% of its value the day you bring it home, right? So you didn't
Right.
you didn't buy it at 5711 for retail. But for that watch, the gray market price, if you have the money for that, love Patek or not, that's the price that you would pay for their chrono, right? Their manual wine chronograph. I forget the reference for it, but it's like night and day, right? The movement in the entry level Calatrava and the 5711, the finishing isn't that great. It's there's a picture on the internet going around where they showed the difference in finishing, right? And it's pretty much on par with like a Chopin or whatever. It's not great, but you go to that chronograph, it's
Right. And it's amazing. Yeah,
it's a different league, right? So to me, with some of these sports models, you're leaving a lot of money on the table when it comes to the value of the horology in the watch.
For sure. For sure.
But if that's what you like, that's what you like. As long as you're buying it for what you like, then sure, right? It's not like they're terrible watches or ugly watches or
no.
Ooh.
But just for that kind of money, paying that premium, there are so many other things I'd rather have.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather buy, like, if you're spending that money for the aftermarket price, you can literally go into your Moser AD, buy a Streamliner, brand new, and then buy another watch that's $30,000.
Right.
Yeah, the Streamliners are far cooler movement and overall concept watch than this.
Yeah, and it's $40,000, and it's in steel.
Shit.
Right?
What's the name of that one?
The Moser Streamliner.
And that's only 100 pieces?
Yeah, it's 100 pieces. But they're very honest that they're going to make other non-chrono versions. Yeah. Look, I feel like they have to also make a perpetual calendar, right? That's their big movement, and a 3-hander. Right. So, that's and the movement in that thing is amazing.
When you look at the other watches that have this movement, they are substantially more expensive than this one.
Yeah, and this one it's not the exact same movement, right? The clutch is different. So Moser developed a different clutch specifically for this. So it's like but the other ones that have it, you don't expect the Fabergé to be cheap, right? And then the other one is the
Meister Singer.
Yeah, no, the Singer, not Meister Singer, Singer. The guys that did the Porsches and stuff.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You're right.
Wow.
And that's an automatic, right? Yeah. So you got to remember.
Yep.
You don't see.
Is that hidden right behind the dial?
Yeah, because all the chrono hands, everything's through the center, so they're able to put the rotor between the movement and the dial.
Movement, isn't it?
Damn.
That is so cool.
Beautiful.
That's so cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Who else does that? Anybody?
Well,
I can't think of anybody who's done that.
But that's an interesting question, right? Because there's so many 3-hander watches.
If you wanted to check out another Moser, there's the Moser Endeavor Hours.
Yeah, that's with the Flying Hours module that actually was developed with their sister company, Haute Lance. They also have it, but in a square case, or a rectangular case, actually. Nice watches, expensive though, but
Maybe we should ask Bill Sanders to do some research for us. Like, hey, Bill, who else does this on their
Yeah, that
movements?
was the Moser Endeavor Flying Hours. Pal.
He's got spare time. Come on, he'll do it.
yeah, send them down a rabbit hole, finding all these things.
Wow, that's pretty cool watch.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Pretty
Look
nice.
at that. How do you read that?
Well,
How do you read
And
the
one
sign
of
on
those
that?
models,
I think the
is
center
Loom.
wheel
Predator's watch.
turns round, and you
Yep.
yeah, sort of. There's three that turn round, and a center wheel is a minute.
Yep.
wow.
The center
So
wheel is
the
a
center
minute
wheel
I
turns.
think, and the
Yep.
other 3 hour wheels that turn around and tell the hours.
Yeah. So right now, like on that green one, it's like 10, like 38 or something. So as the 60 reaches the 10, the 0 will have reached the 11 that's being queued up on the bottom left, right? So then it'll pick up from there. And then after that, you see the 12 on the bottom right will be queued up, and the 0 will reach there. So it's a lot like the wandering hours, like on Urwork or those older AP. AP had that movement as well, where it's the minutes are the minute track is not moving, and hour markers run around it. This is like a combination of the two, where the minutes turn and then the hour marks get queued up in each one of those 3 corners. So
Cool.
yeah, and that one I think is the loomed one, the blue one. It's
And this is too limited, isn't it?
yeah. They look with Moser. There's 2 things, right? It's limited because they don't make a lot of watches every year, and I think it's limited to how many they think they're going to sell, and at some point they just need to move on to something else. So it's.
Yeah, that's a Bill Sanders watch for sure, isn't it? Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Whoa.
Another one was the Urwork. Is it?
It's the Predator's watch.
The Urwork. Can you spell that? Can you pronounce? Can you type that in? This URWERK.
Yep.
Okay. You are 110, 100.
Yeah.
Any of them. I think Neo is a big fan of Urwork, right?
Yeah,
They
I
make
like
some
Urwork.
pretty and beautiful watches.
And they made that
105.
They made that atomic clock, right? Last year, or the year before, that $3 million watch that sings to an atomic
That's
clock.
cool stuff.
Urwork
It's
105.
like MBNF on steroids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See the Star Trek tricorder.
Yes, sir.
That's cool.
This is actually called a streamliner by coincidence.
Oh, is
It's
it?
a pop-top convertible.
It's revolutionary.
Oh, jeez.
Crazy.
It's actually got
Crazy.
the Zenith Elite movement in it with the Urwork module.
Wow.
Yeah, they've used Zenith. I don't know if they've used. I thought they used something else as well, but yeah, they use really cool base movements. And the really cool thing about Urwork, MBNF, Moser with the Streamliner is that these smaller companies that sometimes don't get much respect are actually incredibly honest about what they do, about what movements they use, what they actually make, what they don't make, which is really cool. I think, right? We have these big names that are trying to pretend that they do everything on their watches, even though they don't much.
And just so that we're clear, it's not Star Trek. It's Star Wars. They based these on the Millennium Falcon.
Ah, nice.
No, that was the inspiration. The Millennium Falcon was the inspiration.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that watch. So you see that watch, that's what it is. The minute track doesn't move, right? But then the hours get queued up and then they move along the minute track. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Loom.
Ooh.
That's
Wow.
badass, eh?
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's this one or another of your work, but I think it's this one as a, it's got a turbine for the automatic winding, and you
Awesome, isn't
can
it?
adjust it so that you can either make it so that it's completely manual wind, where you have to turn the crown, or you can have like high winding or low. So if you're very active and you don't want your movement to always be overwound, kind of, or close to, you can lower the winding. There's restriction that's put on the turbine, and so they use pressure so that it doesn't wind as much. So if you're very, very active, it won't be as wound.
Wow.
Yeah,
so-
you do it from the bottom, from underneath.
Yep.
Two switches.
Where are they born from? Where's Urwork? Where's their
Outer space.
facility?
They're from they're also in Switzerland, right? But I don't remember where that guy worked at before. I know the MBNF guy was around, right?
Yeah.
But Felix Baumgartner, I don't remember where he worked before. Your work is two guys, right? One guy is like design, and one guy is really the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, what does Felix Baumgartner have to do with this?
He's one of the founders.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Your work. Yeah.
That's crazy. You guys have all seen his video, right?
No.
I don't know.
No,
Isn't he the one who jumped from outer space?
No, it's a different. No,
Oh.
not that guy. It's a
No.
different guy.
Because
No, but
they sponsored that. They sponsored part of that. So if there's could be some affiliation, guess not. But that'd be cool if it was.
Whoa.
What else do these guys do?
If you afford this Hamilton, there was the sorry, if you couldn't afford this work, there was the Hamilton Flintridge, which was another pop top one, another flip top case.
What was the name of that one?
Flint. You said what? Flintridge? Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool.
That's cool.
Hamilton Flintridge.
Wow.
Rig.
That's actually really nice, isn't
That's
it?
interesting.
Protect your watch. Protect
Yeah.
your watch.
Okay, and you just see the day and date when it's.
So this
covered?
one only goes for £1,040. This is a 28
There you go.
limited edition.
Now we're talking.
Yep.
I could buy 40 of those.
Yeah, give them out like candy.
I'll be that guy who has 25. I don't know. Pick a micro brand you've never heard of instead of any other watches.
Yeah, I found recently on streams there have been a few guys that have been on some streams, and that's what they do, right? They have tons and tons of cheaper watches. I mean, it's one way to do, but I really like the guy from TikToking, Steve Halleck's whole philosophy of get fewer watches, but better watches. So
Mhm.
That's cool.
I believe in that myself.
Look at
This
that.
one kind of reminds me of that IWC. That's a digital watch.
yeah,
Like,
and that IWC is for that movement. It's I don't want to say cheap. It's not cheap, but it's relatively affordable, right? Compared to like I know it's not the same thing, but compared to like what's that Longier one? The the Zeit work. I know it's not a Zeit work, but still.
yeah.
That's a cool Hamilton.
That's cool. I never saw that Hamilton before.
Neither have I.
Interesting.
Is that old, Thomas? Is that like a recent special edition or? I wonder if it's still part of their
Yes.
catalog.
2028 was the Flint Ridge. 2018 limited
2018?
edition
Wow.
Hamilton Flint Ridge.
Wow. Talk
Yeah.
about something that went under the radar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
No Hodinky coverage on that.
No, well, they probably didn't get paid, right? So,
Right.
Yeah.
I've never seen that on the
That's it.
Facebook group or anything either.
Never seen that anywhere.
No,
Ooh,
Take
that's
that.
actually
reverse.
really cool.
it is.
I wonder how cool it is.
Asking about. I see Smokey just saying, discuss FP Jean, and
I mean, I like FP Journe, but it's if we start talking about that, I start daydreaming way too much.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just noticed this now.
Jean did the Holland and Holland limited edition.
Well, FP Journe makes tons of limited edition,
If you
and
you
they're
look at
all
Zippo, if you could look up, FP Jean Holland and Holland.
I forgot which site I was looking at recently, but the Chronomer Blue was listed at like $57,000.
yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
I mean,
It's just insane.
And that's the entry level FP Journe.
it was like 37
Crazy.
months ago.
Entry level.
You know, I remember like 2 years ago, there was a Chronomètre Bleu at Govberg, and I think they were asking for like 30 or something like that. And for a second, I thought about it and said, that was right before I bought my first Moser, and I was thinking, it's a lot of money, but I don't know, maybe you should do it. And I thought, forget it. That's too much money for me. I'll never buy a watch like that. And today they're like going for crazy, but FP Journe makes a lot of boutique editions and special edition dials, and every single one of them is amazing. Like just flipping Google FP Journe Jade dial. Okay, they actually make their the tourbillon, the chronomètre optimum. They make them with jade dials.
Holy cow!
Not jade color, right?
Actual.
A piece of jade, and they just came out with one that sold out in like days. Ruby, like Google FP Journe Ruby dial. I don't know if that's there's a new one that's more like textured. It's just it's amazing,
I think when I first kind of got wind of Journe, the Chronomer Blue was selling at like 22, 23, and I remember when it jumped up to 27, I was like, holy cow, it jumped up to 27. And now look at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
I mean, they make these amazing watches, and
it's nuts.
Yeah, it's and what I like. Look, one of the things I really like are watches that have a story behind them. And if you ever have the chance, watch the Odinky made a video about it, and they Jorn made a video themselves on their social media about it. It's a video about the chronomètre optimum, right? It's the one that has a remontoir d'égalité and like a deadbeat second on the back. And if you listen to the interview with Jorn himself, he talks about how the idea of that watch started like, I don't know, 20 years ago, when one of his clients said, hey, if you ever built a watch for yourself, right, just for yourself, what would it be? And he started saying, well, I'd like a remontoir d'égalité, and I'd like a special escapement that doesn't need lubrication, and it's that watch. And he started talking about it, and the whole story behind that watch, it's actually the one you see on the right now, the big picture there. The whole point is he started thinking, okay, what if you made a watch where the escapement did not need lubrication? So once you set it, in the time in between when it's made and the first time it's serviced, or in the time between two services, it's going to keep the time the same way, right? The lubricants aren't going to dry up a little bit. So if it was like, let's say, +1 in the beginning, maybe it ends 5 years later as +1.5. No, it would stay the same way. So the whole escapement is built so that there's two escape wheels. So the pallet fork like gently slides into one and then into the other. So there's no friction. It's just,
wow.
And he said it took him, I don't know if it's like 10 years or something before he actually had like the know-how and technology to build that watch. And so you've got the normal seconds in front. You see the remontoir d'égalité, you have the power reserve, and then you have the hours and minutes. And in the back, you actually have the dead beat seconds. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's amazing.
And there's a jade dial version of that one.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the back. You see, you have the deadbeat seconds there on the back. So it's like that's like my favorite Jorn. It's got all my favorite complications. It's got everything except for the serious flaw with that watch is that I can't afford it. But otherwise, it's perfect.
Jeez.
Hey guys, I gotta drop off. It's always fun talking to you. I'll see you next week, and I'll watch the rest of this in replay.
All right. Thanks for
All right,
joining me.
yeah, take care, man. Good to talk.
Good having you.
See you, Geezer. See you, Smoke Eater.
Good to speak
All
to
right,
you.
take care, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Cheers, buddy.
Later.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, so I can't look at those watches too much. Well,
Yeah.
It's part of
That's
that.
tough.
We talked. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, with that watch, it's tough. Do you wear it, dial
Yeah.
side up, or do you flip it around and wear it, the K side up?
We've got
I
a
mean,
JLC man in. We've got Mr. Ernest something in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that in the JLCs, it's things I need to not look at too much. I mean, the thing about JLC is that they're more attainable, right? So, like, you could get
Yeah,
for
we've
like
got
a
our
third of the
JLC
price.
man in the house. Ernest something. I was just wondering, could bring up a JLC zipper?
Like, bring up like a Geomag. That's
The JLC workhorse.
yeah.
Geophysic, sorry?
No, the Geomag. I'll type it in the private
Thanks.
chat. Oh no, sorry. Of course, I made a mistake. Here you go.
Okay.
I love I love those watches. But you know, used a Duomite, you can get that for what, like 25 US or around there. That's I think the best value for money you can get for that level of watch.
Mm.
Mhm.
But all GLCs are cool.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh
Mm.
wow,
Very true.
Ooh.
that is
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There's the moon phase, there's the travel time,
Wow.
and there's
Damn.
the chronograph.
That's
And
everything all at once.
yeah.
Wow.
So you get whichever one you want of those three watches.
Oh.
That
Mhm.
particular one is the moon phase, the quantième lunaire, and they all three models have the same base movement. That's 2 barrels, and one
Mhm.
barrel is for it's really 2 movements. So 1 barrel and 1 movement, 1 powertrain is for the timekeeping, and then the other powertrain is always for the complication. So for one, it runs the chronograph. For one, it runs all the lunar phase complications and date. And then for the travel time, it runs all the travel time functions. So
jeez.
Wow.
Wow.
just amazing watches.
Yeah. What else is here?
Wow.
And if you look at the movement, I mean, the movement finishing it's basically like, you know, it blows most entry-level paddocks or even like mid-range or high-range paddocks out of the water.
Sure.
Oh,
You know, it's probably like as good as it gets before Dufour or Elange, right?
Mhm.
And it's just so much technology is packed in those watches. It's a really, really cool setup.
that is. I just got to see this now. What's going on with this one? What do we have down?
Wow.
This one is the same, but if you search for chronograph, you'll actually see search for Duomite chronograph, and you'll see a
Oh.
different one. And then we can look at the travel time if you want. But so the chronograph is really cool. Like if you bring one up, so the first thing that they do is you see there's 2 hand colors. So one hand color is dedicated to everything that's chronograph, and one hand color is dedicated to everything that's timekeeping. So in this one with the black dial, all the white gold indices and hands, that's for your timekeeping, and all the yellow gold hands is for your chronograph. And on the bottom in the middle, that's your 1/6 of a second chronograph indication. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Unreal.
And because it's got 2 barrels that function completely different, completely independently, when you're starting the chronograph, you're not like all of a sudden using the same torque for more complications. And technically, right, the amplitude lowers and whatever. So really, it's the second barrel starts, providing power to the movement. Yeah, and the one you're hovering over, that's like one step above. That's when you enter into the spherical or the spherical tourbillon, which is just that's let's not even go there. That's that's no longer that's no longer an affordable grail. That's,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jesus, that is incredible.
It's the Bezos weekend watch.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is pretty.
And if you bring up the travel time, Watchfinder has a great video about the Duomite travel time. But if you unique travel time, that one it's got a little globe, right? to sort of show you the time around the world, kind of like a world time. But it has a shadow that turns around it, so that the part of the world where it's night has like a little shadow disk around it, so it's darker.
Wow.
Oh,
And
that is
and the
wild.
second time zone dial on the left is fully independent, so you can adjust, you can change the minutes as well, because you have some time zones that are 30 minutes ahead or 15 minutes ahead or something like that, so
Right.
totally independent. And the hour is a jump hour, right? It's just, it's really, really cool.
That's insane.
Then on top of all of that, you have all the geometric have a zero reset system, where
That's very cool. That I love.
yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I wonder
so-
how many Newfoundlanders are taking advantage of that half-hour time zone difference.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they know about those watches. Try not to make Newfie jokes too much. Yeah.
That is something else, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, these are never heard of any of these. This is all new to me, and these are incredible.
Yeah. Like in a
So is
in a
that all
perfect.
your?
Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. There's all your time zones. Okay.
Mhm.
On the case back. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, they put the time zones there too, so that you're you know how to set them if you want to set them independently. So you have sort of a reminder there in the back. But yeah, those are actual watches that could actually be like a attainable goal. But for the price of Patek Nautilus in steel, gray market, you can get
Yeah.
like 3 of these watches. So something to think about.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm blown away by these, man. I want to see how. Denver, New York.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah.
They must have the most daring and like brave design team in the horological industry. I mean, this is crazy, beautiful stuff, and nobody else is doing.
Well,
Maybe work.
yeah. Look, I think you have tons of other companies that are very daring. You have Urwerk, you have MB&F. I think JLC, their main thing is a lot of the stuff they do is they do it because they can, right? Just to showcase, hey, look, we know how to do these things, and we have the know-how, we have the patents. And one thing that a lot of people don't know about JLC is that they have this whole division that's basically their whole reason for being is to preserve some old arts, right? Like micro painting and things like that. So they're not just about technology; they're about finishing. They're about hand painting and all these things that a lot of these other watchmakers either don't do anymore or don't do to the level that they used to in the past. And I think they're one of the few brands that really goes from, I don't want to say entry level of watches in general, because they're still expensive, but from entry level for those types of watches all the way to those $1 million watches, right? Like the Westminster.
Right.
I think very few companies have that broad cover.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Shit.
Wow.
Because even Paddock does like really, really complex stuff, but they start,
Sorry, man.
yeah, they don't start at like the $7,000 watch range, right? They start like at a much higher level. So
Right. Wow.
I got to go back and look at some of these other ones too.
There's so many beauties.
Oh man.
Certainly are.
yeah, which is and it's very sad because unfortunately, because of some people out there, a lot of people look at JLC and just think they make reversos and they make the reverso
Right.
and then a bunch of watches that nobody wants to buy, right? Which is not
Right.
really what they make. And there's nothing wrong with the reverso. I love the reverso, but they do make tons of other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, this is.
Oh.
And you can search for the. They make and actually Watchbox is selling one right now. They make the lunar one, so the Quantième Lunaire. So you can write Lunaire, but write the Diomètre. You can write Diomètre, Lunaire or enamel. It's just amazing. We might be able to find it that way. Yeah, so this one, like the third, the first three pictures are that. That one is, it's a Diomètre, but all with like painted enamel. It's just perfect.
Wow.
So you're saying like they're preserving all kinds of, traditional ways of painting and all that, and then obviously using computers to design all these complications and whatnot.
Mhm.
That's a pretty cool combination they got going on.
Yep. Like they do the reversos where on the reverse side it's like a micro painting, like a hand painted reproduction of an original painting, like a Rembrandt. Like if you search JLC reverso Rembrandt, you'll find some examples of that. It's just it's somebody with a loop painting a painting on the back of your reverso. Well, that one's a little bit different. That one's on the dial, but they have some where it's painted on the opposite side. So the one where it's painted on the opposite side, you have a normal dial, right? And you're basically protecting the painting. It's on the other side.
With your watch.
Wow.
Trying to find that. No.
Yeah, I can.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, here I don't know if I can post the link in the private chat. Tell me if that works.
That's a beautiful reverso.
Mm-hmm.
See if this should work.
Yeah, this particular one that I linked was the when they did it with the tribute line. So, but these are like $300,000 watches, I think. Because you have a guy, an actual artist. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Look at that.
Yeah, if you scroll down, they have one, and what they did with this series is they sort of color coordinated the dials. And if you go down to the bottom, there's the one, that famous Japanese painting, the wave,
Yeah.
and you have this blue textured dial that goes along with it. I mean,
Oh,
how amazing is that? And you don't even have to show the painting, but you can just flip it, and you have like a micro painting on the back, done by hand
Wow,
by an actual artist.
that's amazing.
crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's amazing. And people are still in lines waiting for a Submariner.
Yeah.
People are.
Yeah. It
And
makes
what did
you,
we say these go for?
I think those are like $300,000 or something. I think, if I remember correctly. But you have to understand, right? That how people joke, like they say it takes like a year to make a watch, and doesn't really take a year. You have to understand that one painted by hand, that really, it's like the Grubel for saying, right? The new one that's made by hand, that I think it starts at $600,000 or $700,000. It goes all the way to $900,000.
Yeah.
And they said, I think it's 3,000 or 6,000 hours, right? It's 3 man hours to build it. Not the designing, not the engineering, not the preparation that went into that, the hand made project. It's really just building it. And to make it, they took years to find all the equipment, and yeah, it's all designed on a computer, except that once it's designed on a computer for that particular series, nothing gets CNC'd, right? They start with metal, and they punch the gears and cut them by hand, and so it's insane. So yeah, I mean, there's they're expensive, but there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Listen, gentlemen, I'm gonna take my leave. I got stuff I gotta do.
Yeah, I think
it was good talking to you all.
mhm.
Flippin', NS, Thomas,
Blue shirt, man.
Turkey. I'm glad you joined us, man.
Thanks, man.
Welcome.
Thanks for encouraging me.
And yeah, no problem. And all the guys in the chat, Geezer and Smoke Eater, Junior Johnson. Good to see you guys. And I'll see you around. If not, next Sunday. Thanks again, Flippin'.
Yes. Take care,
Thanks for
man.
joining. Yep. And I think
See
on
ya.
that note, guys, yep, thank you. See
Okay.
ya.
All
I think on that note, I'm also going to take my leave. I better go. I think I need to do some grocery shopping or something. So
All right.
I'll talk to you guys. It was really cool having you on, Turkey, as well. And yeah, everybody in the chat, really cool. And, let's try to keep talking about watches.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Thanks, NS. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I'll catch you on
Take
another
care, man.
stream. Take care, Thomas. Flippin'. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Take care.
Sorry, Thomas. I don't know if I left you hanging there or what.
I'm still here for a minute.
Is my microphone working, Zippo?
It is now,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. We hear you.
Yeah. Junior Johnson, take care. Thanks for coming along.
Adios, Junior.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, how are you feeling, Thomas? Cut out again?
You feeling better, Thomas?
Hmm.
I think we might be cutting out.
Yeah, I think so.
I hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you okay too. All right, well, probably time to call it anyways. So
Definitely. See you guys next Sunday.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, same time every week. So glad to have you aboard.
For sure.
All right, man. Take
Have a
care.
good night, man.
You too. Talk to you later.
Yep.
And Thomas, We'll talk to you soon, mate. Hope you feel better. And Geezer, yeah, please do. All right. Take it easy, guys.